Warning: the consumption of raw beef may result in an increased risk of mild irritation, general discomfort, and/or hurt feelings. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's rare on this episode of Raw Beef, which, by the way, welcome back all the tartards and all the pure the cannibals. No, that's weird if I call them that. The carnivores. Doesn't matter.
The tartards. I like that stuck. That steak. Remember that came up with that a while ago.
This is rare. And that's how it should be cooked.
This should be just an episode of puns on beef. That was just beef puns.
The podcast would be 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. I don't think there's that many beef puns.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to ground it.
Yeah,
that was bad.
There we go.
But this episode, we have one of the original co-hosts of the original iteration of this podcast we started doing this bad boy. It was a pandemic baby.
Yeah.
And then we started doing it at another comedian, Wilfred Padua. And then we stopped doing it, and now I started again. But you were one of the originals.
Yeah, that became like a staple of my week. Every Tuesday, it'd be like, all right, it's raw beef. We're going to go to Wilfred's house and have a good time. It was a lot of fun, man.
And then, and we're not going to have to wear masks inside.
No.
And we're not going to have to, and then after this, we're just going to walk around and drink White Claw on the street. I don't even remember what we were doing back then.
I just remember sometimes we'd just take massive dumps in Wilfred's bathroom, and that was so funny because he's so clean as a guy.
That was actually
destroy his bathroom.
I do actually remember.
I wonder if that's why we stopped doing it. That could
the
be one of
ultimate
the
reason. That's a thing about, I think everyone who lives in New York can. This is a theory of mine, but I think everyone can adjust to this. Everyone who lives in New York, not just men, women, theys, everyone. Right?
Yeah, all the people.
When you live in New York City and you move around more, like you do, you burn more calories.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. So your body is naturally, subconsciously telling you to consume more calories because you're burning more calories.
Correct.
You're eating a slice on the road. You're grabbing a muffin with coffee, whatever. Thus, your body is processing and you are taking more larger dumps. I swear to God, the New York City citizen dump is more frequent and larger than your average American city dump.
I think you just came up with a great scientific study.
I think you can apply that to any large major city, Mexico City, Shanghai, London. I bet everyone takes
the big city dump size versus the small town dump size.
Yes. And the speed at which it happens, it's so much more like a business transaction.
How often would you say you take a big dump a day?
Three a day. I'm a minimum 3 a day.
And you're always on the clock, 3 a day.
No, it's not on the clock. It's sort of like my sleep schedule.
Okay.
Like my sleep schedule's all over the place, as is my dump schedule. But it's healthy, it's consistent, and it's quick, business-like. I can digest wood. I swear to God, my digestive system is fucking
like an
genius.
alligator. You got a crocodile stomach, you know?
Really?
Yeah. Because they're like 200 million years old, because they're like one of the closest to dinosaurs.
Right.
They can digest anything.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, their stomachs are just the coolest things in the animal world.
Damn, dude. See, this is why I miss hosting a podcast.
Yeah, just random facts like this.
Random facts. By the way, goes by comedian TJ. Tanael Joachim. Fuck. I swear to God, I thought I was going to.
I know. New Orleans, it helps you. You're French, but it's just never fully there. So I always respect the effort.
Of all the comedians, Sean, you'd be the one I thought would have nailed it.
I know.
I fucked up the Joachim. I fucked up the Joshua.
It's tough. It's tough.
I do. And I've said this to you so many times. I know you probably go by TJ, obviously, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because your first name is 3,000% phonetic, though.
Yes.
I'm like, anyone who go, what is that? Tanael? I'm like, you're being stupid. Read it.
Yeah. It's phonetic. Well, it depends on the mind that you're reading it with. Right. You know what I mean? Because it's very phonetic for a non-English speaker.
Yes.
Because when an English person sees my name, they automatically thinks Tanael because they see the A and the E
swapped, and they swap it in their minds. You think?
Yeah, because they just gotta. Because it's weird to have those two vowels in English.
Right. You
gotta do something weird with it, and then anybody else will see it, be like, "Oh, Tanael." They just pronounce it as it should. English is weird that way.
Yeah, your last name all the French fucks it up.
Yeah, that one is it's too much.
Yeah.
It's way too French.
But I'm sure over the year, I mean, we talked about this, but over the years, like hosts being like, Tanael Joachim. And you're like, okay,
it
man,
was such a
can't do it
nightmare.
anymore. Yeah.
It was such a nightmare.
Yeah, that's
I think one time there was a host who called me Toenail. I'm like, how do you see this?
oh my God.
He must have been the laziest of them all. And he
Tanael
called me
Joachim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
man.
Wow. That was the day where I was like, you know what? I know TJ Miller's out there, but I got to do something. I got to go with TJ. I
mean,
can't
dude,
be Toenail. That's
we were
just not-
talking, who are we? Mike, what episode is Cypher? The Cypher Sounds episode where he was talking about Talent, the comedian.
Oh, yeah.
Comedian
Yeah.
talent.
Or
yeah.
comedian talent. You know this is too. So it's always funny when black comedians end up with one name.
Yeah.
Like you are,
Yeah.
but you aren't. But it's like, yeah, but this is a different reason.
Oh, there's a whole different. Yeah, people think I'm doing some arrogant thing where I'm like,
No,
I'm
no.
Prince or I'm Madonna
Yeah,
by
yeah.
going by one name. It's not that.
Yeah, you're like,
It's
no,
just-
most of
those
you
are-
can't read
this
my
is both
fucking
my
name.
names. It's just two of them, but it's tough.
Yeah. And like I said during that Cypher episode, I'm going to just start going by SP, SOP, SOP.
Yeah.
SOP, that's my
Why
initial.
does Earthquake do it? Do we know the Earthquake story?
He actually is responsible for the San Andreas fault. No, I'm a man. That's probably I can actually.
I don't know his real name.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But that one I get, like how like rappers you come up with like a handle,
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
That one I kind of get.
Yeah, and it fits him because he's such a killer. So you would think that maybe he would destroy the room so hard. It's like, I'm Earthquake. I just came and rumbled this place.
Just came and just rumbled and
Yeah,
shook
that would
the
be
structure.
cool, but I don't know if that's why he came up with it, because that would be pretty.
I mean, he used
dope
to be
and cool.
pretty overweight, I think, right?
Are you
Oh, it
talking
could
about
be a
talent
fat
still?
No,
thing.
I'm talking about
You know
Earthquake.
Earthquake?
Oh yeah. Talent's
Yeah.
real name is Talent, by the way. It's Talent Harris.
Oh, so
Wow.
so his parents were arrogant. Not even him. That's just like
Right.
this. My
What
son,
an indictment to put on a child.
He ends up, especially if he ended up like an accountant.
Yeah.
Or like, or just like a janitor. But then again, it's like he's got talent.
I mean, the best janitor in the
Basically,
world.
anything he did, he could apply his name to. So actually, it's
Yeah.
genius.
Earthquake has a pretty great name.
Go.
What?
Nathaniel Stroman.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Stroman. Yeah, now I'd take it back, Earthquake. You fucked up.
Yeah, Nathaniel Stroman.
Yeah. But actually, I
Damn.
guess Earthquake is like what man. If comedy was like, if that was a thing, where going back to the days of like vaudeville and shit, you just had
Yeah.
to come up with a handle.
Yeah.
Like using your real name, that's weird. I wonder what I would be.
Why is it so accepted with rappers to have an alias?
I think there's something about music where obviously not every musician, but with music, it's like the idea that that's not really you.
Right,
That's an
it's a
alias
persona.
or a persona.
Right.
And because lyrics are up for interpretation. And
True.
You know, music
True.
itself is, I think, more of a primal response than maybe comedy is, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can just hear music
Yeah.
and without even thinking about it, like, oh, I
Right,
like this.
right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Which is
Yeah,
why
that's fair.
Yeah, which is why I hate music snobs. By the way, if you're a music snob, I fucking don't like you.
Yeah, that's
I
our first beef. We found
Yeah.
the first beef. Music
Yeah.
snobs.
Well, that's old beef. That's old beef.
You've always had that one,
I've always had that because, like, I get being like, I don't like this kind of music or this type of music is better, but the idea that you think you're smarter or better than another human being based
Because
on your
of-
musical taste
Yeah.
is fucking stupid.
yeah.
Like, you can't control that.
No.
That's
no.
you hear a song and you naturally like, oh. I know you can train your
Right.
brain to think
Right.
differently about music.
You
but-
know, it's been debugged, this whole thing
Yeah.
that people used to say back in the day. If when you have a new baby and if you play Beethoven or Mozart for them,
Yeah.
they'll grow up to be smarter. It's complete horseshit.
They'll grow up to be a cunt, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything about intelligence. It's just music that fancy people decide is the highest level of music.
I almost feel like, because I feel like your child is naturally going to rebel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of if you have good taste in art and cinema, or cinema, music, food, whatever, instead of like trying to force that on your kid, go the other way.
Give them
Like,
the opposite, the
play
exact opposite.
Candlebox for them nonstop, and just feed them fucking ravioli. Well, actually, that's pretty delicious ravioli. So
Yeah,
not
they
that,
would.
but
I could ruin them.
just push like terrible art on them, so they're like, "Fuck you, mom and dad."
Right.
And then you're like,
I'm a
"Ha-ha,
Mozart guy now.
I tricked you. Yeah. I don't. Yeah, dude. I'm not. But then again, at the same time, like I do think Obviously, because I have shit that I hate that everybody else loves.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't think I'm better for it.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Because I'm not.
You just accept that,
Yeah.
I don't like this, but I don't have the right to shit on you for liking this.
Well, there is also like a belief, I think. I don't know. You're someone I think I can have this conversation with. We all project our shit onto everyone around us. Even if it's like a low percentage. Even if you're just 1% projecting. You know? You are, I think. Everybody's constantly or 100%. And I think one of the things about taste, about being like, you like that? Oh, you're fucking stupid. This is better.
Right.
I think that has to do with our own insecurity.
Yeah.
And because we relate to an artist, like, you know, you relate to a comedian, you relate to a band, they influence the way you think, the way you grow up, the way you're, like, you start to take it, you personally intertwine yourself with that art.
Your taste is an aspect of your identity that makes you feel comfortable. So when somebody doesn't like it, it kind of threatens your identity.
You take it personally.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you're like,
I get that.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, there's no need to do that.
Right.
You know?
Like, I like JayZ. My girl she doesn't like JayZ, but I love JayZ.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Like,
JayZ,
all right.
I was actually thinking about this in so yesterday, real quick, we'll just date it. Yesterday, I flew into LaGuardia Airport from Boston, which is roughly a 47-minute flight.
Yeah.
Right? And then from LaGuardia to my apartment is usually about on average, 30-minute Uber because of traffic. Oh, you know, New York, there's always traffic. But yesterday, there was a fucking bike marathon, which can suck my dick as a whole.
I wasn't that bike thing.
You were in it?
I wasn't racing. I was actually out with my lady, and we rented a Bevel, so I was in my little Bevel, and then just going around the bike people. It was kind of fun to just watch them on their stupid bikes. And
Marathon, dude, marathons.
Yeah, the 5-borough bike race.
What is even the, like, who makes money? That's what I want to know. Who makes the money?
People who want an activity. A lot of them look like tourists who came here just for this, because there were a lot of non-New York faces. I'm like, oh, you guys don't live here. There's no way you would survive here.
But in order to shut down half the city in incremental periods of time, someone has to be making money off this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I only bring this up because what is normally a 30-minute ride ended up being a 2-hour and 42-minute ride.
Yeah, they closed down a lot of streets.
I was in traffic, and people have asked me, why didn't you just get out of the Uber? Because I was on the fucking BQE, the interstate. There was nowhere to go. Yeah. And we were just inching along, so I started talking to the driver, and at some point, he played the entire JayZ 444.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a 35-minute album. It's a perfect... And it was short. Listen,
and I had never really heard most of it, and it was oh fuck, man.
Oh, that album is it's basically JayZ going to therapy. That album.
Yeah. But also, when you get to a point where, like, JayZ, I feel like at this point doesn't even have to think about whether what he's doing is good or not.
Yeah.
And that's not
he's not looking for that validation. He already knows that, I do what I do.
The
world has validated him enough for him to even think about that.
Right?
What a cool place to be, you know?
But I feel like music, you can get away with that. Because music is interpretation.
Yes.
You know, lyrics are, even rap lyrics, mostly, I think, you know, rap is very more akin to poetry than anything.
Right.
But like lyrics and beats and all of this, they all work together to form this thing that you can, it's not just cut and dry.
Yeah.
Whereas like comedy is.
That's true.
So if you get to a point where you're like, I no longer need to be not validated, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you get to a point where you're like, I don't care what you think. I'm just going to say what I say. That's usually the death rattle of most comedians.
Yes.
Where you get to a point where you're like, I don't even fucking care anymore.
Yeah, because we have to depend on the audience a lot more than
a lot more. Not totally though.
No. You still, Jon Stewart put in a way that I really agreed with. It's just you should not do things because you think people will like it.
Right. 100%.
You got to do what you think is good, and then you can only hope they will like it. But if you don't think it's good, don't do it. Yes. And I always thought that was kind of the ethos for comedy.
So, it's a balance of you got to do what you do no matter what. And you've got to trust that it's good. And if people don't like it, you still have to do it.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, you have to eventually make people understand it.
Yes.
Right? You don't have to change. You don't have to stop doing it.
And understanding and liking are two different things.
Right. You have to make people understand it, and that's when they laugh. Whereas musicians do not have to do that. They can just be like, nope, this sounds good to me. These lyrics are what I want, and bam, there you go. Fuck off if you don't like it. You just don't get it.
Do you think that works also for movies? Like a guy like Tarantino has been validated so much where he just, I don't care if you like my movie. This is what I make. On a JayZ kind of thing.
Well, actually, I would say Tarantino is more like more like a comedian, where it's like, I'm going to do what I do, but I do have to make you understand it.
Yeah,
I do have to do this in a way to where you at least can follow it and get it eventually, and maybe that makes you love it. But I think some filmmakers are the other, like a Lars von Trier.
Yeah, I know that name. I don't know his movies.
I mean, dude, the last thing he did that I saw, which was, I mean, this has been a while, but Nymphomaniac, right? Was that what? Lars von Trier, Nymphomaniac? There was 2 of them. There's part 1 and part 2.
Is this Swedish? That's one of those.
I believe so, yeah. But he's got I mean, if you want to see Shia LaBeouf's penis entering a woman's vagina repeatedly, among
that
other,
is in the movie.
there is real sex in that movie for sure.
Wow.
And if it's not real, then he took CGI to the next level.
And there's also a director's cut too. So there's multiple erotic art film versions of this.
Dude.
What's the name of that movie? I got to watch it.
Nymphomaniac. Parts 1 and part 2. Wow. Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good movie though.
Yeah.
You know?
It's an artsy, fartsy kind of movie.
And like, but I guess there's some people who are like, I fucking love that shit.
Right.
So I guess it's, I don't know, similar.
Okay, but again, aren't we committing a sin here by saying it's not a good movie? How do you?
Oh, you're right. It's not for me.
Right.
How about that?
Right.
There you go. Yeah.
Because that's tough to say. I feel that when I'm like, oh, this person is not a good comedian, but I'm like, I don't have the right to say that. I don't like their comedy. Yeah. But people are laughing.
Yeah, I feel like if society would have we'd be in a better place in a lot of ways if we all learned to shoot from the hip but not take it personally at the same time.
Yeah.
To be like, I don't like that. Instead of that sucks.
Right.
Just I don't agree.
Yeah, just put yourself, take some responsibility for your fucking opinions.
Right. And then when someone says it back to you, you go, well, that's your opinion. And I'm not going to take it personally.
Like I went to see Guardians of Galaxy, the third one. Yeah. I was not.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
No?
And I know people love Marvel stuff. I'm generally not a Marvel guy. There's a few of them that, spoke to me in a way, but it's too formulaic.
Like anything, exactly. Like anything that is that big and gets that good, it's going to eventually
it's like, all right,
flip on itself.
Those are the pieces we need. This is how we make the money. These are the jokes that we're going to need. And everybody survives in the end. There's no real stakes.
Right.
Okay. And I was like,
Right. You've got to, well, that's
so sanitized.
Thank you. That's the word I was, but when you get to that point where it's like, this works so well, it never needs to change, and people are going to keep giving us money, like America.
Right? Yeah, it's so gross.
Or like capitalism, really. But like, you get to that point where, it's like, why would you? What's the definition of insanity? Is just
doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
But I guess at the same time, then we're the insane ones. Because you keep just going to see these Marvel movies being like, this is the one where they change.
Yeah.
And you're like, nope.
I guess, there's also nothing else.
I'm crazy for Marvel.
They just keep making them.
Yeah, dude, they're going to, I mean.
Eventually, I think it'll crash, because I'm definitely in the camp of Martin Scorsese or some of those guys who do not think that Marvel being the cultural juggernaut that it is good for cinema or for popular culture in general, because they don't. It's stagnant. They don't do anything interesting or new. It feels like there's some childishness in the culture. That's why Marvel is so popular.
Well, that's probably also why most actors who like get like a Marvel role are real quick to get out of it as soon as they can too.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the money. They can't say no to so much money, and you get to. I was reading about this recently. It's very interesting where, because of how big Marvel is, there's almost no movie stars anymore. There's characters that are stars.
Right.
Like Captain America is the star, but not Chris Evans.
Right. That's what you mean.
And I was like, oh, that kind of, because if you think of movie stars, the last 2 guys I can think of, like legit movie stars, are probably Leo and Brad Pitt, the last ones left. There's a lot of new actors now that are famous, but I wouldn't call them movie stars.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like Blockbuster, not even Blockbuster, because neither of those guys have really ever done like Blockbuster shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brad Pitt maybe here and there.
Yeah, but people would go see a movie because of those guys. Like Denzel, those are some of those people. Yeah. Like George Clooney back in the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think Clooney still got it.
Yeah.
I think Clooney still.
Is he still making movies like that?
I mean, I think Will Smith, even though he fucking, slapped.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the last movie stars.
I think he still probably has a box office draw.
Yeah, he does.
Well, that's also like when you see like the new Wes Anderson film coming out, by the way, which I can't remember what it's called, but there's like 15, big name actors in there, and you're like, this is becoming a trend.
Yeah.
Where just like they're just jam packing, and then it's
Hollywood's version of the super team, which is what the NBA has been doing. Let's get 4 superstars on this team. That's the only way we can win a championship. And it's like, no, it isn't.
Well, you're starting to look at like even like comedy tours are starting to do that.
Yeah.
But then you remember this. They probably all thought the same shit back when like Lollapalooza launched in the '90s too.
Yeah.
When it was like, wait, all of these bands are touring together.
Right.
So I think it's like, it's almost like everything that happens in music seems to eventually happen in every other film, comedy.
I mean, music is the most powerful art form for sure.
I don't think anymore. I think music is second to podcasting, and that's not just because we're podcasting now.
That would be a sad day.
I think it is. I think if you prove metrics, people listen more to podcasts than they do music these days.
Wow.
Because podcasting, right now, someone listening to my voice, whether or not they like my voice or what I'm saying or not, is still drawing their attention slightly away from what they're doing, right? Whereas I think music used to do that and still probably does, right? But this seems like
you might be right.
It seems like music can take you away too much. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be doing some bullshit at work and you hear a song you like and now your concentration's just broken because you're sort of like projecting yourself into that musician's shoes and you're like fucking rocking, banging out or fucking R&B in it or just whatever. Say R&B in it, girl, or just like feeling it too much to where you're too removed. Whereas right now, listening to my voice, you're not as removed. You can still be like doing your shit and listening to us talk, and it just kind of passes the time a little bit more. It's like a lower level
really
frequency.
Just the passing of the time is the reason why it's.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's not because there's anything about podcasting that's superior to music. Clearly, there isn't.
Just like there's nothing. Most of it, like that's why Marvel movies.
Right.
That's passing time. That's passing time with a lot of bright colors and.
Yeah, that's a very sad realization that we just made here.
Like, what about this, Sean? What about actors or musicians always wanted to be sports stars. Sports stars always wanted to be musicians, but now they all can be podcasters very easily.
Yeah.
So now everyone can be a podcaster.
Oh yeah, and it's also why everyone's doing.
And you don't have to dunk.
Right. You know? No, you don't. I mean, shit. I mean, you have to do everything else right. You have to find a nice studio with a nice sign, with a fucking a guy who wrote
subtitles on the clips, and all that
a producer that owes you because you know where the bodies are buried. You know what I mean? I didn't say it. I did just say it. But but that's whatever, man. It's also like I used to get real pissed off about just like this sort of how everything seems so more about the packaging than the product these days.
Yeah.
I used to get so angry about that until I realized, like, no, because there's still people out there who want the product and will seek it out.
Yes, there's just fewer of them, or they're not as loud as the others.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't. Back in the day, it's the artistic version of okay, you wanted a restaurant. Well, how about a really successful food truck instead?
Yeah.
And actually, that's great, a really successful food truck.
Right.
You're a little more mobile, you're paying less overhead, and you still get to make your food the way you want to make your food.
Right.
And thus make a much, you're still making a great living, I guess.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, which brings me to one of my beef that I told you about.
See, this is, former co-host knows when to segue into the beef better than I do. Because this was always my beef with myself.
And this is a weird beef to have because I love comedians and everybody is to an extent doing it now.
Right.
I'm sort of mourning for crowd work because I used to love crowd work as a part of stand-up comedy.
Okay.
When it was done in a beautiful, I remember watching Big J doing crowd work was artsy
Big J
to
Okerson.
me. Yeah. When Dave Attell is doing crowd work, it's artsy. But now it's become this thing that's only used to feed the algorithm, and we all do it because the algorithm responds best to it.
Yeah.
And there's now a whole generation of people that go to comedy shows for the first time because they think it's crowd work, and that makes me sad.
I mean, hey, real quick side note, you want to talk about artsy crowd work, Todd Glass. If you've ever seen...
Oh, I've never seen him do crowd work,
Todd,
but I could see that.
Well, Todd and Scoville does that. I mean, these guys are different, but Rory Scovel also, they have the thing that they do where they will interact with the crowd, but only to trigger their own imaginations.
Yeah.
So instead of it being like, what do you do? You're a doctor. What? And you're drinking?
Yeah.
You're a hypocrite. More like, didn't you take the Hippocratic oath? Hell yeah, that's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Can I write that down? Down and just reuse it? But like those guys, you know, like Todd Glass would. You've seen Todd. He starts going into the crowd, but only because then it like. He's like, oh, what if we did that? And then he like creates an entire world.
Yeah.
And Scoville is similar, where he like will go into the crowd, but only then it just leads him down a path which doesn't. I'm with you on this. This version of crowd work where it has to stay on the crowd. Yeah. It has to just only be about them. Then they get like butthurt.
There's a soullessness to it because all it is I got to use you to get a clip. It's not, crowd work is meant for the room. Like the idea of crowd work being online was weird. When it first started. Now it's normal because everybody's doing it, but it was weird because I'm like, the only reason this is working is because it's happening. Everybody is in on what's going on.
Right.
But the moment it leaves the run, it's like, oh, I'm using you and your job so I can get likes on social media. And that feels cheap.
Right. And like every now and again, I will see a crowd work clip where I'm like, okay, that's...
Yeah. Because people are saying the same things at comedy shows that are worth sharing with other people. That's
you know
true.
what I always think 100% of the time? Even the best of the crowd work clips, I always think I would have rather have seen the bit version of this story.
Yeah.
I would rather have seen the comedian take this, write it into a bit, and tell it on stage.
Yeah.
Versus this actual... Because the interactions are never as insane as they make them out to be.
Of course.
Right? Even if... And no one's ever posted a clip like this, or at least I haven't seen it, like a fight breaking out in the audience. I've seen a couple where someone gets kicked out, and it's never that crazy. It's always just like, okay, saw it, but I would rather have heard the comedian's version of it.
Yeah.
Like, man, one time I was in Orlando, and they got a whole fucking bit about it, and I love that. Because I love storytelling, doing and hearing. But, like, I'm with you on that.
And sometimes people tell you crazy things that you're like, oh, this led to a whole place where I didn't even think when I got on stage. I remember a couple years back, I was at Eastville, and I was talking to this guy because he was in the front row, and it looked like he was visiting New York, but it looked like he had money. And he basically told me that he was in town because he's a sperm donor.
Yes.
And he fathered some kids, and now he's in town to meet those kids. Back in the day when he was broke, he had to sell his sperm to make money. And I was like, that's a crazy thing. And then we talked about that for 15 minutes, and it was wild.
Yeah.
And there was I wasn't recording it so I could put it online. At the time, we weren't doing that. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool moment that everybody in the room just had with this crazy admission that this guy made.
But you know what? If you'd have been filming it, it wouldn't have been as crazy. I'll tell you why. Because you'd have been in your head being like, oh, fuck, I've got to make this.
Right.
I got to punch this up more.
Yeah.
It's got to be more clip drivable. You know, and it's like that. That's the same thing with live podcasts.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of times when you watch a podcast live, you notice everyone's a little more, you know, people are less willing to dig in, more like, oh, wait, I got it. We got it. It's got to pop
entertain
more.
the audience.
Got to pop. And you're like, well, isn't that what defeats the purpose of, I mean, this right now, what we're doing right now, like filming a podcast, you know, and this is great here at the studios, at Raw Beef Studios at 666 6th Avenue in Manhattan. But filming it, you know, this used to not be a thing.
Yes.
It used to be just like audio, and that was a great part of it all. But now it's like, hold on, you got to get your...
you got to be camera ready.
I put on so much makeup, wore a hat, this shirt, $2,000 shirt with a moon on it. No, it's not. But everything becomes
a commodity
at some point. But at the same time, going back to music, I bet when karaoke really became popular, I bet there was a panic among like live musicians.
That they thought this would take over their business.
And while, yes, karaoke is here to stay, it ain't going nowhere. And yes, there's even live band karaoke. It still did not overtake.
Right. So in this analogy, do you think of karaoke as crowd work?
Yes, in a way, because I feel like it's not the it's not the audience doing comedy, but I think that it is the audience being. I think there are audience members who show up and are like, I'm gonna be in a clip.
Yeah, I actually think the popularity of crowd work clips kind of made audiences shadier.
Oh yeah,
lately at shows where people just come and they feel like, well, I gotta participate. I need to be a part of this.
And there will always be those fuckers.
Yeah,
and there will always be crowd work comedians doing crowd work specials.
Yeah, that's not good.
But I don't think it's gonna overtake.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it'll
just be there.
It's weird. Yeah.
I mean, then again, we are probably only about 5 years away from cover comedians. But not like...
I mean, people were doing that on TikTok, where they just lip sync the jokes of somebody who's famous.
Right.
And then they amass a following.
But they still...
lip syncing jokes.
Oh, it's fucking terrible. But they also aren't appearing live. I mean, like, motherfuckers who not even like not stealing bits, but being like, oh, the Richard Pryor tribute act is tonight, or like the George Carlin tribute act, and people start paying to go see someone just get on stage and do like a Gallagher.
So that would be like an impressionist?
An impressionist, but they're getting booked at comedy clubs.
Yeah, they're doing the material, the actual material.
Yes, and people start, because like that's another thing, like when cover bands started really popping off, I'm sure original musicians were like, what the fuck?
Right.
And now cover bands are huge, but still have not replaced.
And then you're going to have a whole host of new problems now, because now there might be a white cover comedian who wants to do Bring the Pain, and he can't do it because of all the things Chris Rock says.
Unless they're like, oh, hold on a second, though. Let him do blackface. And then blackface is back because he's making money.
Oh, that would be cool.
If it's like the white comedian who does Chris Rock better than anybody else, like, dude, let him put on... He's trying to make a living,
right?
And but he's selling out fucking venues.
That's his art, He's got it to Chris Rock.
What was it? Johnny Boulder. That would be his name, but he's the white Chris Rock.
Johnny Boulder.
Johnny Boulder. Wait, so we talked briefly. Mm-hmm. You had a real big beef though.
Well, okay.
The main beef.
Yes.
That was the little bird. That was the slider. That was a little beef that we cooked.
This is a beef that's kind of weird for me because I'm not a rules guy that much. I don't mind when people break rules, but lately, people in my neighborhood, there's a lot of dog owners, and a lot of people don't pick up their dog shit.
Oh, bro.
And it's been bothering. Like, I get angry about it, dude, and I don't know why.
Can I just tell you why?
Yeah.
Because your sidewalk's covered in dog shit. I think that's a fucking... I don't think you need to think too hard about that one,
I want to grab their face and shove it in their dog shit so they understand they got a fucking asshole.
Dude, it's not
Don't
difficult.
own a dog if you can't do the bare minimum of you sign up to pick up your dog shit. Because where I'm from, dogs are just mostly loose. There's a lot of stray dogs in the streets. Nobody walks them and pick up their shit.
That should be a new... This you said rules. If I were ever a mayor, governor, or president, or ruler of a land, that would be one of the many rules I would imply. That is, if the dog owner does not pick up the shit and they take more than 5 steps away from it, you then as just if you live on that block. Or actually, fuck that. If you're just a citizen of that area, you now have the right to pick that shit up and throw it at them. Right? Yeah. And then whether you choose to do it with your
I'm a much more extreme dictator than you. I was actually thinking of murdering people who do that.
Okay, there you go. That's why that's a little much.
People who don't pick up their dog shit. Guys with very loud bikes that ruin the public peace. All those people can be murdered. You got to set examples if you want the society to work.
This is why I think maybe dictatorship is a strong... I would be more of an elected king for life, But I would just call myself the Sean. I would just put a the. That would be my thing as the ruler of my land. There's no title. You just get a the put in front of your name. So the Sean, the Mike.
Yeah.
The ruler, the TJ.
Okay, all right. I'm cool with that.
Like the Ohio State. But we're not. But there would be no. Man. But it would not be Ohio. Hopefully, no.
The Ohio State.
Not the. Correct. The.
Wow.
I got no beef with Ohio except for all the Confederate flags, which is weird. I've seen more Confederate flags in the state of Ohio than I ever saw growing up in the South, which is weird. Ohio, you're not part of the South. Stop it.
Yeah, it's officially the Midwest, isn't it?
It's officially the Midwest. It's closer.
It's like the Midwest.
It's closer to Canada than it is to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, that's weird.
But that really eliminates the heritage, not hate. Like it's definitely not your heritage, so it's only one other option.
Definitely your hate, motherfucker. Yeah. But no, man, this is also that thing of, it's the type of person who probably wants to say things like who wants to point out how other rules should not, like, no, you shouldn't, we should have gun control.
Yeah.
You know, but then at the same time, it's like, well, also pick up your dog shit. No, come on, it's just dog shit.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, but even the littlest thing like that can piss someone off to the point where they fucking eventually have a mental breakdown and shoot up a goddamn school.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's all, like, you might be responsible for a school shooting if you leave your dog shit unattended.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, you know,
I'm saying it.
Rules have to be there for a reason, because this doesn't work if we don't all, like, the only way society works is when you do something, you should do something that if all other people do it that same way, then the world would work.
Yeah.
That's sort of the way you look at things when you're going to do something publicly. If it's private, that's different. Whatever you want to do privately, nobody else needs to do it. But things that you get to do publicly, if other people do it and the world is fine, then you're allowed to do it. If everybody leaves dog shit out there, then what do we have?
Well, I mean, okay, speaking of breaking rules, like, there are rules to break for a reason.
Yes.
As in, like, you know, women shouldn't be allowed to vote. Break it. You know what I mean? But, like, you know,
I don't know about all that, Sean. I think we have a problem right now. Too many of them.
Right. Or like, you shouldn't be able to talk, criticize your leader, whatever. Those are like things that were broken over the line for the human spirit to sustain.
Yeah.
But then there are like basic housekeeping of society rules. Like, here's one of my massive pet peeves or beefs is when someone can afford public transportation and they choose to instead not pay for it. They choose to jump the stall or jump the the turnstile just cause. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Or like not. It's like, dude,
fuck the man.
Public transportation to me is the most important thing about major metropolises in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Right? If New York City didn't have a subway, this would be one of the shittiest places in the world to live.
100%.
Say that about every major city.
100%.
And they need your fucking 275.
They do.
Just because you're fucking badass, you can hop a turnstile. I know some people can't afford it, and that I get that. Fine, do that all day. But you know what I'm saying? You ever been with like your friend? You've had a couple drinks, and like, fuck, I can't find my Metro card. Fuck it. Yeah. And you're like, well, just fucking pay the shit. You're not this doesn't make you badass.
Right.
This doesn't make you rebellious. You're not Che Guevara. Guevara. Did I say Guevara like a fucking noob? Jesus Christ. You're not breaking any you're not cool right now. You're not James Dean. Same thing with not picking up your dog shit. Yeah. It's like, just pick the fucking, you have something on you that can get the dog shit up. Yeah. You know what I've done before? Yeah. And I've done this before, and I'm not super proud of it. Well, I'm not proud of it. There was one time walking a dog, I didn't have anything to pick it up with. I just got spaced, and it took a shit. So I just kicked the shit to a grate. Okay, and just stomped it into the grate.
I think that's at least respectful.
I got shit on my shoe because of it, but then just walked it through the grass. Not a big deal.
You took that on your shoe instead of a stranger taking it on their shoe because of your mistake.
No, dude,
or not even mistake, of your willful leaving the shit on the ground.
But there is that thing that people, like, everyone wants to criticize the actions of everyone around them until those actions become yours. Yes. And then you want to be like, well, no, it's different. Yeah. And like, no, hold on. If you critique away, I think that is part of the one of the good things about this or any true democratic society. So yes, everyone, you have that option that you can say whatever the fuck you want about anyone. Also be willing to say it about yourself. Right. Most people are 1,000% not.
It's hard for them to turn the gun on themselves. It's very hard.
Yeah.
Like society, you know, there's a social contract.
That's such an extreme. You're a man of
a gun.
extremes.
It is a gun.
If you're going to shoot everyone, be also willing to shoot yourself.
That's correct.
Which I believe most shooters are, TJ.
Yes, a lot of them are.
That's the only thing they do right.
Yeah.
Damn, that was cruel. But also, you know, yeah. But at the same time, yeah, to point the finger, I guess, or
Yeah.
what? Yeah, we can go with
No finger, no gun, just the finger. We're gonna
not
make
even
it a
the
little
finger
bit
gun.
light.
Come on, we're taking.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it doesn't matter. Go. Yeah, it's. Do you ever say anything?
But I never see them.
Oh, would you? You would.
I don't know. I guess it would depend on the person.
Yeah, if it was if it was just a ripped.
Yeah, it's like if am I in a confrontational mood today? Am I gonna be that person that has to confront somebody? I just wish they would do it, but it's just like I see the shit, but I never see when they're leaving it.
It would be hilarious if you walk out of your front door and you just see a pile of shit. And you're like, what the fuck are you looking? It's like all ready to say something. It's like 5 88th Street Crips walking like
now,
a Labradoodle.
what do you do? How brave are you?
Like,
how much do you believe in your dog picking shit stance?
Yeah. Just a fucking group of just hardcore thugs walking a like a Labrador. I like the idea of a Labradoodle becoming the new
Right.
because that was a thing growing up in New Orleans. I'm just probably not everywhere, but you had so many pit bulls and owners who were keeping them aggressive. You know,
is it to fuck with other people, or they just love the persona of I have an aggressive dog?
I think it's part of the persona of just like, oh, don't try and pet him; he'll bite your fucking arm out. He'll kill you if you get too close. And your dog was, and like. But
pit bulls with like crazy deltoids. You're like, damn, where the fuck does this dog work?
Dog's doing fucking dog's doing military presses.
Oh man, yeah.
But at the same time, like the idea of that, just the most fucking, just a hardened by the streets fucking guy with a Labradoodle.
Yeah,
but just like a mean Labradoodle, which I don't think is possible. I think,
I would. In that case, pick your battles.
Yeah,
there are things I'm not willing to risk my life for.
And then you see like a little sheepish guy, and you're like, hey.
Right.
And he turns around with the fucking the meanest face.
And that's why in my dictatorship, you murder both those guys, so you don't have to fight them.
There you go.
Yeah, the government handles it.
It's like nutria on the street. You're allowed to shoot them.
Yeah.
Because or kangaroo, I believe, in certain parts of Australia. You're allowed to hunt and kill them because there's a infestation.
Are you allowed to shoot nutria in New Orleans?
Yes. You can pull over on the side of the road, just blast away if you see a bunch of them. Because there's an infestation.
People eat them.
You do, yeah.
What does it taste like?
It's like pork. It's animal meat.
Oh, okay.
It's not very gamey. You've had nutria, right, Mike? It seems like something you'd.
I haven't actually. No.
Wow.
I've seen it, but I don't think I've ever had it. No.
Found something Mike Albanese has never eaten.
Yeah, and I only learned about it recently. I didn't know about this animal. I just thought it was a giant rat because that's what it looks like.
Essentially, is.
Is it native to your area?
I mean, I don't know them. Here, I've never heard of nutria in many other places, but I think they call them shit different areas.
Yeah, it just looks like a rodent.
At a certain point, I mean, dude,
it looks like a capybara. That's the one in the Amazon in Brazil.
That is
that area.
Closest, yeah. I mean, that's the thing when people are like, you've eaten that. I'm like, dude, I mean, look at a cow.
Yeah.
Look at a pig. Look at a deer. Look at a chicken. Look at any animal we all eat regularly, and tell me you would fucking eat that. While alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It all looks fucking insane alive.
It does.
That's why, like, when you try certain, like, tripe, we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I love that shit. But people are still like, oh, you eat that? I'm like, you eat sirloin? That's a pig's ass. Or a cow's taint. It's all part of an animal that is dead now. Like, you can't, oh, no, I can't. I could never eat haggis, people say. I'm like, that's because you're a dipshit. It's just part of an animal.
You're eating it.
You're eating an animal.
There's no rules. When I was a kid in Haiti, we used to fry goat blood. When you slaughter a goat, there's a lot of blood that comes out. And people kind of dry it up a little bit, put some spices in it, and then you fry it. It looks gray when it's done.
Yeah.
And it looks like gray sloppy Joe. You could put a burger. Like,
I'd
you
fucking
could
eat the
just
shit
put
out
it
of that.
Yeah, it's delicious.
What's it called? Is there a name?
No, sakabit. That's just the word. It's just goat blood.
Goat blood.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd eat a fucking goat blood taco or
actually.
I'd do it.
Ooh, that would be nice.
I'd fucking eat it. Wow. You're already eating the animal. Like,
Wow.
like the first I remember, owner of the Creek in the Cave, Rebecca Trent, shout out. But in Long Island City, she took me to this restaurant, this French restaurant once, and she ordered some sweetbreads.
Yeah.
Which I did not know what that was, and she didn't tell me till we started eating it that it's like the like the brain. It's a brain gland of a cow. Like a brain gland. That's not what it is, but it's part of the brain of the cow, right, Mike? You know what is it?
Sweetbread.
Sweetbreads, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, never had that.
Thinking she said it, I think thinking it would gross me out, but I'm like, oh, rad. It was good.
Yeah,
It's good. Like that's just you're already eating dead animal. I just never understood the like pickiness about certain parts of the dead animal.
Yeah.
Like it's all of it's a dead animal.
And I think a lot of that is, in poor countries, people don't want to be wasteful. It's like, if I kill this animal, I'm going to find a way to eat every single part of it.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the greatest meals in the Caribbean is oxtail. Because I don't think Americans care for the tail.
I fucking love oxtail.
But oxtail became this really cool thing because they don't want to waste the tail. And the tail is fucking delicious if you cook it right.
Amazingly delicious, dude.
Yeah.
Especially in stew.
Yeah, I mean, oof.
An oxtail stew, bro. But also, I mean, I fucking love lengua. Tongue.
Yeah.
I love cow tongue. And so many people have just been, I'm like, dude, it's tender. It's delicious.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's a fucking fun prank to bite into it. And they go, how is it? And you just go, mm.
Have you ever had the balls of any animal?
You bite into it. Yes, I've had Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh, is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had it.
All right,
Chewy.
good balls. Yeah.
I've only had bull balls, I guess.
Ah.
Because I should try all the balls of every animal.
Yeah, you should. You should.
But but you know what I would not eat? Dog shit. But I would like to make
Classic
people
shot.
on the street eat it.
Yeah, I would shove their face in it.
Do you? I mean, have you ever? Have you? But I gotta know, because usually when some of the beef we've learned comes from the organism that is the person who has the beef itself. So
Yes, correct.
did you ever, like when you were a kid or something, did you not clean up a dog shit and it caused an accident?
When I was a kid, we didn't really walk dogs like that. The
Yeah?
dog would just take a shit in your backyard.
Oh yeah, you just let them.
Yeah, they just roam kind of freely. They shit wherever they shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now? Did you have dogs growing up?
Yeah, I grew up with dogs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I love dogs.
So that might be another thing too. Is you have a respect for the animal.
Yeah. And I walk dogs once in a while here for people. I've never owned a dog in America. I might do it soon, but I don't know yet. But yeah. It's not really because I've done it and felt weird about it. It's just I see people do it. But I guess maybe at one point I'll have a bad day and I'm like, I don't want to pick up this shit. And then like, oh, look at me. I got to murder myself now.
Well, I do. Dude, I mean, according to your own
I got to follow my rules. Can't be a
dictatorship.
hypocrite. Yeah.
Wait, you ever see the movie In Bruges?
No.
Oh, okay. Have you seen that, Mike? In Bruges? It's a great fucking movie. You should watch it. But you'll see why. I now just feel like I gave away the ending, but I didn't. So never mind. Yeah. You won't just watch the movie.
Okay.
But the dude. So right before the pandemic hit, there was so it's the only time I've ever there was a guy walking a fucking wolf essentially in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. It was a husky, but it was a giant
huskies.
beast of a husky, and this thing took a fucking. I will always refer to it as a bonfire. It looked like an unlit bonfire of turds. Right?
Oh, God.
It was just so much shit. And I remember this guy I had seen, because I used to live on a block in Brooklyn, Pacific Street, if you know Brooklyn, where there was a dog training center right next door. You've been to my old place.
Yeah.
There's a dog training center right next door, right?
Yeah.
So you'd see all these people dropping off their dogs every day and then picking them up every day, which at a certain point, it's like, that's one thing that does annoy me about a lot of dog owners in major cities, especially New York. They have dog trainers. They have dog walkers. They have dog fucking sitters. It's like, why do you have this animal? The whole idea of it is to form a bond and have a pet that you can't afford or have you don't have the time for this.
Yeah.
And then I've heard,
but I want to say I have a dog.
Yeah. It's the same thing with nannies. When people have kids and they're like, you have a nanny that's with a 24. I get it in some situations, but then some people who like the nanny basically raises the kid, and you're just like the CEO of the family, and the nanny's like the president. You're like, I guess, but
yeah, you know what's funny about that? It's an offshoot of feminism, American feminism, the rise of the nanny. Because women got into the workplace and wanted to work as much as men, but they also wanted to have families, which is this bullshit thing where people want to have it all. Where you can't. So what these women did was, because we're working as much as the husbands, who's going to raise the kids? Because we also want to have kids. Then they created this line of poor immigrant women who came, and they were like, well, I'm going to give you a shitty amount of money so you can raise my kids for me. And thus the nanny state was born.
Dude, I mean, okay, so the first time I went to Hong Kong in 2018, I cannot remember the name of what they call it, but it's Sunday on Sundays in Hong Kong. This was 2018. There would be all these nannies who were all like Filipino, mainly from the Philippines and from Indonesia. That was their one day off. Right?
Wow.
So they would be all up in the bars, because apparently Hong Kong, obviously major international hub. So you had all these nannies that were Filipino and Indonesian who would make a killing being nannies and sending the money back home.
Right.
But they were working for these mega wealthy, and in Hong Kong you had the whole spectrum of mega wealthy. You had white, you had Chinese, you had
there's a lot of fucking
Singaporeans, you had Australian, you had all these million upon millionaires.
Some of them billionaires.
Yeah. And they all had these nannies, but they would all have their one day off. It was for Sundays. So they were all day, all night in the bars, in the clubs.
Getting drunk, just letting loose.
And also just being creeped on by like single older dudes.
Yeah.
And it was, so one of the comics took me out to like witness this. And it was pretty fucking insane. Because you would just have these guys. The nannies were also dressed to the fucking nines. But then you have these dudes who were just like roaming around, just showing cash, just showing that they had money. Just buying rounds of buying bottles of champagne and sending it to tables. Full
Did
of
the nannies welcome any of it?
Half and half. It seemed like half and half.
Because I would imagine if you spend your whole time in a country just raising someone's kid, and you never get to feel wanted,
on your
you don't
own.
get to feel like a woman. This is your day to be like, let me just let this idiot fuck me so I can feel good.
And he probably will give me 20 grand to do it.
Hey,
it's
I
pretty
don't
fucking interesting. But
Yeah.
like that whole idea of like the nanny, and that is true. It is a thing of like, hey, families. We've seen the broken results of non-functional families where it should be like, hey, one of the people doesn't have to be the woman. Obviously has to have the kid. She has to have it. I know some people think that's probably not feminist enough of a statement. But I'm saying it right now on the Raw Beef podcast. I'm taking a stance. Only women can have children. Come at me. This is my stance.
I agree with you. 100%.
TJ's with me, and look, if it ends up, look, dude, this is true friendship. True camaraderie. We'll go down together.
Who else can have children?
Dude. What, you think men have the time or the DNA to do it? Do you think men have the actual biological ability? Fuck no. We're out here working. Constantly.
You know what it is? It is something that I've been trying to put in my head recently as an adult in the world. It just, this, to me, the idea is that everything in life has a price, and you have to be willing to pay the price to do things in life. Meaning, this notion of you can have it all, it's complete bullshit. It's a fiction of American, like the American mindset is
balance is not there.
No one can have it all. And it's not a man or women thing. It's just no one. If you want to be a really rich dad, your kids are probably going to miss out on time with you because you're going to be working and making so much money.
And
if you want to be a really successful woman who wants to work the same as men, then if you have a family, you're probably going to be a shitty mom and have to hire nannies to do it. You got to pick and choose what you want. That's just the way it goes. There's a cost for everything.
Billionaires, of course, here, there's a cost for everything. Well, I can afford that. And that's the problem, because you end up with very shallow fucking humans. Yeah, but like the idea should be one of the people involved in the procreation is like, I will be the stay-at-home. But it's not, it's one of them. Doesn't have to be the mom.
No.
But
I think there's a lot of happy stay-at-home dads there. If that's your thing, do it.
I mean, actually, two things I've heard about parenting. So on the road, I'm on the road right now, opening for David Cross, right, who has a young kid, and he told me John Stewart, bringing up John Stewart again.
Love John.
Gave him the best advice he's ever heard as a parent, which was just, one sentence, which was, don't take anything personally. And meaning, when they're a kid and they're like, I fucking hate you, which they probably won't say fucking that, or they're like, I like mommy more than you, or they're like, I don't love you.
Yeah.
Whatever things kids say because they're figuring out their own personality up until they're probably in their 20s.
Yeah.
You just don't take it personally. I'm like, damn, that's actually genius. Yeah. That's actually fun.
Also, that applies to a lot of things in life.
A lot of things in life we're just talking about.
Yeah. But in show business, oh God.
If you just don't take anything personally.
If you're out there taking things personal, you will leave this business in a hurry.
Leave it as a very nice way of saying it.
Right.
Burn yourself out and burn yourself like metaphorically like a Buddhist monk.
Right.
You will metaphorically douse
like
yourself
a Vietnamese monk in the
pity
90s.
gasoline and light yourself ablaze with why me.
I watched that video recently.
Oh, that video is crazy, dude. Yeah.
And you know what's remarkable about it? And I think that has to do with his level of meditation.
Yeah.
While he's burning, he's not screaming in anger. He just sits there and is burning. He's like, it's almost like the pain is not even getting to him.
Dude, yeah.
Isn't that unbelievable?
And then we find out years down, like right before he did it all, he was whacked out of his skull on fucking heroin. But no one knows. No one knows that. It's like the meditation.
That could be a thing.
Like,
that could be a thing.
He couldn't feel the pain. He was trying to.
That's wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, you'll do that to yourself if you start taking everything in life personally.
Yeah.
But like at the same time too, I don't know, man, parenting, but dog parenting even. Like that was, I mean, because some people are that disconnected where they're like, I'm its mommy or daddy, and that's like, well, you've let go, you've disconnected from reality. You at least now know your demise, which is you're gonna fall in love with your animal, and when it dies, so will you. But,
oh my God. Great.
But like the fucking shit, I had a whole goddamn point about this and I forgot. But and that's my beef is that I forget my points. But no, that's right.
I have a small other beef I can bring up. So you tell me time wise.
No, we're closing it up. But like the fucking this guy with the dog, right? Who pick up his dog. He treated this thing, 'cause I would see him almost every day. He treated this animal like, I think he probably got it because he thought he was going to get a lot of pussy when it was a puppy.
Yeah.
And then eventually no one gave a shit because that guy's a creep too, because we can all see that dude coming from a fucking, like, oh, this guy's just walking his dog trying to hit on women.
Yeah.
You know? This thing was grown now. He clearly just didn't give a shit about this dog. He would be on his phone. He would be tugging at its neck. You know? But anyway, I saw him like almost every day on the block. But one day he's walking the dog away and it takes this massive shit that I talked about, the unlit bonfire.
Yeah.
And then he just clearly tugs it and he's not going to
pick it up. Yeah.
And so I was standing there and I just was like, no, I'm going to say, I went, excuse me, you left something behind there. Right? That's all I said. I wasn't like, hey, asshole, pick your fucking.
You weren't looking for a confrontation. No. You were just, hey.
I said, excuse me, you left something behind.
For the public good.
And he does the thing. He looks back and he goes, try not to step in it. And he keeps going.
Ooh.
Right. Which was such a hilarious
fighting words.
Yeah. And then but he skedaddled too. He was like he got to going. And I was like, well, okay, what a piece of shit, apropos.
Yeah.
But it was that, but also I kind of laughed because that is, I think, the mindset of people like him, where they take something that they did wrong and the effects that it has on other people, they blame on the other people.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like the idea of like in his mind, what if that's an actual issue? It's just like there's guys like me who like, I love stepping in shit. Yeah. It's just my favorite thing to do. I can tell what kind of dog it was, right? And I think that also applies to like, the mega rich who like destroy rivers that they pollute. And they're like, well, why are you swimming in that river?
Yeah.
Oh, because it was, the one source of water through this entire area with all the populace. Well, you shouldn't live in that area. Yeah. You shouldn't live near a chemical plant. Right. It's like, wait, but the chemical plant wasn't that. No, well, you should have seen it coming because this land was so good. And it's like so what I'm basically saying is anyone who doesn't pick up their dog shit is probably going to rape an entire culture for money eventually at some point, either them or their children.
Yeah.
See? This is what I've always
we brought it back together.
This is what I've always liked about you, TJ. You see the pure evil in little mundane acts.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how it starts. You know,
It starts with not cleaning up your dog shit,
and then you're fucking up countries.
Exactly. Then you're letting your dog shit on Yemen. The whole thing.
There you go.
There you go. That's
and we
right.
did it.
Right?
We cooked the beef, I think.
You think? Yeah. You think?
You tell me.
It originally started with like Saudi princes walking their dogs into Yemen to just let it poop, and then eventually it all went. I
mean, society is way too complex for people to not follow because the little rules lead to big things, and then and this and this, and then we're fucked. Because this is a fragile thing we have. This thing doesn't work if we all do our own thing.
Yeah. Start with the little rules.
Yeah, because some days I walk around New York City, I'm like, man, it only takes this much for this whole thing to crumble.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm like, this is kind of precious.
Yeah. No one realizes that until poof. And then all of a sudden, bro.
Yeah. It's like, all right, pick up your dog shit so we can keep this thing going. Because it's pretty nice.
Pick up your dog shit so society can sustain.
Yeah.
That's the beef. That is
the beef. Yes.
That's well done, too.
Well done.
That's a well done beef.
But not burnt black. Well done and edible and juicy still.
You know what that was? That was a smash burger beef.
That's right.
The edges are crispy.
Right.
You can put cheese on it.
Yeah.
We did it. And you said you're about to go to what, France?
France and Belgium to go do some shows. I'm doing like a Fringlish tour, which is very exciting for me because I'm going to do stand up in
French and Spanish?
French and English.
Oh, in English. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm in bureaucratic bullshit right now because I have to send them so much stuff. I still don't have my visa and I have a flight to Paris on the 16th. But the thing is, I have a green card here, but these countries have so little respect for the Haitian passport.
Really?
That you still need to get a visa to prove that I'm not trying to move to France. It's like, I live in Brooklyn.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
I'm not trying to move to your country. If I lived in Haiti, maybe I would get it because things kind of suck. But I already live here. Just let me go tell my jokes and then come back.
Right. It's also a mind fuck when you show up to speaking to a French immigration officer in French. Like, I'm not trying to move here.
It's like, you know why I speak this language. You people are the reason for this. Just give me my goddamn visa.
You can let me in. You forced your way in. I'm not trying to force my way in.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Well, fucking A, dude. That tour is going to be awesome. I want to know how.
I'm very excited for that.
And where do you, we could find you on what? TJ Comedian?
TJ Stand Up.
TJ Stand Up.
Instagram and Twitter, TJ Stand Up.
Go see TJ.
Yeah, I got some really cool dates coming up. I'm very excited about this summer.
TJ's great. TJ, I took him to a couple of I took him on the road with me last year.
Yeah, man, we've had a lot of good times on the road.
Hard to follow. That's all I'm saying. And also, there'll be more.
Thank that.
But also great as fuck, dude.
That's a big compliment coming from you. I
Indeed, man. And go see TJ. And check out he's got a special, what is it? What's it called? January 2nd?
January 3rd.
January 3rd.
Amazon Prime. Yeah, that is my birthday.
Do it.
Yeah.
TJ the Comedian, welcome back to Raw Beef for one episode. We'll have you back,
bro. Yeah, man. We gotta do some more stuff. More road gigs.
More road gigs. Just holding it.